sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, so you know all about the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Yeah.
It feels like we've been hearing about him forever, and there's always been this mystery surrounding him.
Yeah, for sure. It's been years of speculation, and now finally at least some of these files are being released.
Right. But here's where it gets kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
These files are going to a select group of conservative influencers. They're not going to the public. So we're going to deep dive into all this today and try to figure out what's going on here. What's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is raising some eyebrows. Like, a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
To really get into it, though, I think we need to rewind a bit. So for anyone who maybe needs a refresher, Jeffrey Epstein was a financier who was accused of running a sex trafficking ring. And then he...
Got in prison.
Yeah, under mysterious circumstances.
Like in 2019. And this case has been, like, just a constant source of intrigue ever since.
Totally. And a lot of that comes from the fact that he was connected to all these high-profile figures.
Yeah. Like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew. Their names were all over the previous documents that were released.
Exactly. And we can't forget about Ghislaine Maxwell.
Right. His longtime girlfriend.
Who was convicted just a couple years ago, 2021, for her role in the whole trafficking operation.
Ugh. It's just crazy to think about. So these new files that we're talking about today, they're like another chapter in this crazy story, right?
Exactly. And the way they're being released, well, it's just adding more fuel to the fire.
Right.
It all goes back to a Trump-era executive order that required all sorts of documents to be declassified.
Oh, really?
Yeah. These Epstein files were part of that, but the order also included stuff like, you know, files on the JFK assassination.
Wow.
The whole idea was to be more transparent, right? But releasing this stuff to just a handful of influencers.
It doesn't feel very transparent.
Right. It really raises questions about, is there bias here? Are they trying to manipulate something?
So we've got this big push for transparency, but then this really limited and potentially biased release. How is that even allowed, like, legally?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's kind of a gray area, to be honest.
Yeah.
The executive order wanted, like, broad declassification. But it did leave room for exceptions, like if something was a national security risk or maybe a privacy concern. So it seems like they're using those exceptions here, but the rules around it are still kind of murky.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we've got this representative, Anna Paulina Luna, Republican from Florida.
Right.
And she's calling out this limited release, saying it's not right.
And she would know because she actually leads a task force on government transparency.
Oh, wow.
So she's arguing that this whole approach just falls short of what the public actually deserves, which is full disclosure.
Absolutely.
She even suggested that these files might only contain Epstein's phone book. Like, that's it. Not the stuff that people are really looking for, you know, the more incriminating stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a valid concern, though.
Oh, totally. This selective release basically creates this information vacuum, right? And it can get filled with speculation, misinformation, all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
It also makes you think, who's actually controlling the story here? Are these influencers getting special treatment? Or are they being used to, like, push a specific agenda?
Definitely makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of agendas, let's actually talk about what is in these files. Like, what do we know for sure?
Well, reports are saying they include a bunch of names of Epstein's associates and also flight logs for his private plane.
Oh, so kind of similar to stuff we've seen before.
Exactly. That's how we found out about those big names before. Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, even Stephen Hawking, all kinds of people.
Just seeing all those names together is wild. Like, what were they doing on those flights? What were they talking about? Makes you think.
Yeah, seriously, that's what makes this whole selective release so frustrating. We're getting these little glimpses into this whole world, but it's like we're looking through a keyhole. We don't know if there's even more explosive stuff in there, like details that could totally change how we understand Epstein's whole operation, you know, or how much influence he really had. We just don't know.
So it's this constant back and forth between transparency and secrecy.
Oh, so frustrating.
It really is. So this brings us back to you listening, right? What do you think? If you had access to these files, what would be the most interesting thing to you? What would you want to know? What details would help us unlock the secrets of this whole Epstein saga?
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Because one thing's for sure, this story is far from over.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made up. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.